Me running a football club, me as Hannah running a football club would be absolute chaos.
Oh, Frida Pinto. I haven't seen her in a minute. She is great. I love her. Frida Pinto, final answer. She can play striker.
I think I'm gonna have to go for a World Cup trophy, man. Like, cause that's a bigger, like, Lionel Messi just won a World Cup for Argentina, and those people partied for like a week straight. So I need one of those. Like Brett's won an Emmy. If I want an Emmy, I'll go and, like, play with Brett's one.
Hi, Hannah. This is
Hey,
Pooja.
Frida.
How are the biscuits? Did they taste any good this time?
Yes. Do you know what is the answer to that? I think Jason Sudeikis laughs that I have globally complained about them so much. Season 1, they were basically like ceiling tiles, but season 3, they've put more butter and more sugar in them. And who doesn't like more butter and sugar? So I'm actually not acting anymore. They are actually lovely, whereas first they were awful.
Perfect. Now you have ice cream as well. So
I
seems like
know, I've not tasted that yet. I need to taste some of this biscuits with the boss ice cream.
but it's amazing that your character is so loved. And you are the three of you, the three girls, like, found this unlikely bond with Kelly and Sassy as well. Are just the three women in an all-male show. So how is the vibe and how does this friendship, what kind of role models have we set up for the audience?
Do you know what? Strangely, I know everyone says about it being a male-dominated show. We have such incredibly lovely male human beings in our show that they never make you feel that. And you could very much feel that in any other walk of life. So there's that. We never feel like the minority in the family. But I think with my, both on camera and off, myself, Ellie Taylor and Juno Temple, we are very much girls in real life. We are all about feeding into our girlfriends, and the same as Keely and Sassy and Rebecca are in the show, we are all very kind of honest and basic, and we'll call each other out as well. So I think there's that was written on the page, and then there's that which we have brought to it. You meld the two together and you get these three-dimensional characters, because the writer's room and Jason in particular have allowed us to put our stamp on it so much. And I think that's why people love those girls, because they are how you would aspire to being in a female relationship. And I think you've got three women there who have gone out of their way to make sure that women on screen as friends are portrayed in a positive light instead of the kind of natural bitchy connotation that we get.
Absolutely. And how much like Rebecca are you? Or have you taken away something from her?
I would say, obviously I'm like her in appearance, because I feel like she's my alter ego of how I would be if I was a boss bitch. I would be like immaculately tailored to all shit. I'm far more ramshackled and a bit more bohemian in real life myself. I'm certainly kind of louder and kind of a bit all over the place. But I would say what maybe I have lent to her and she has lent to me is something very similar, which is wearing your heart on your sleeve. I feel like I lent that to her in season 1 because it wasn't written quite as much as I wanted to play. I wanted to make sure that people understood that she was the way she was because of deep-seated hurt. So I feel like along the way, I've lent things to her, but she has given so much back to me.
A football club, owner of a football club, or an Emmy win? What would you pick?
Would I pick?
Yeah.
We've already had lovely Emmy wins. So I suppose the only thing that eludes me is that I think it'd be a nightmare. Me running a football club, me as Hannah running a football club would be absolute chaos.
Also, what is that typical American thing that you have picked up that you've realized, oh my God, the Brit me?
Expressions I've definitely picked up here that are great. Like I love it when they say, we'll unpack that later. I love that. Or we'll circle back to that one. So I've definitely picked up those. And I would also say in general, I find Americans incredibly positive. I think sometimes because of our grey/white dreary weather in England, we all get a bit kind of insular. And there is something about the American way of carrying yourselves in general that I like being around Americans. There's a can-do attitude that I really appreciate.
Awesome. And lovely chat.
Yeah, I've never been to India, and I would absolutely love to go. I'm waiting till my daughter's a bit older, and then I feel like we're going to do a little bit of a trip.
We would love to host you too. Lovely chatting with you. Here's to more Emmy wins and more seasons.
Thank you, Pooja. All the best.
Hi, Brendan. Firstly, I want to know what is the typical British thing that you've picked up over the seasons of Ted Lasso?
Great question. Great question. Hold on, I'm going to my Rolodex. Haven't been to England in a few months now, so it's not as fresh as it used to be. I would say the English thing that has more landed in me that I didn't have before is this might seem silly, but going for walks. You know, just finding a peaceful lane or some gardens and stuff that you just kind of stroll through and put away your day and your mind for a little while and just be around you know, the urban version of nature. That's they got me there, they got me good.
And also, Coach Beard, how did you work? You know, there was an entire episode dedicated to him. How did you work on his character arc, and what can we expect?
I mean, the thing about Coach Beard really is kind of that among the main characters, he has the least arc. You know, he's sort of like he's kind of the same almost all the time, and we know so little about him. But in terms of what to expect this year, I mean, you know, can't give too much away, but he's still going to be there for Ted, and Jane is still around to throw a spanner in his works.
And he's created quite a cult following for himself.
Well, if you say so, Pooja, but that's not up to me.
If you were given a choice, Emmy win or a World Cup win, which one would you choose?
Oh my gosh, World Cup win for the U.S.? Yeah, World Cup win for the U.S. Oh my gosh, there is no trophy that I want any club in any sport of all the sports I enjoy to win more than I want the United States to win the World Cup in my lifetime. You can have all the Emmys. You can have the Peabody. You can take it all. Take my child. Well, no, not my child. Unless you need him to be on the team that wins. Yeah, World Cup for U.S. in my lifetime. I'm begging you, please.
Awesome. And also, how difficult is it to work on a show, you know, because you do have gaps, and continue with that momentum, because, you know, in the 2 years you have other shows that come in, but keep it up, because Ted Lasso is huge, and just keep it up, you know, season after season. Well,
you know, those of us who are writing the show and producing the show, we don't feel those gaps. You know, it has been an everyday job, you know, since 2019 for us. You know, we might finish shooting, but once we're done shooting, then we're doing post-production. And then when we're done with post-production, then we're doing press. And then when we're doing press, we're doing, you know, awards tours or whatever. And then once that's over, well, we're writing the show again. So there are gaps from the outside, but from the inside, there's precious little time to take a breath.
And also, Coach Beard is a man of a few words. Will that change in season 3?
Nope.
How much are you like? How much is there of Brendan and Coach Beard, or are there? Absolutely.
Oh, no, a fair amount. I mean, Coach Beard is far more macho than me. And, you know, I'm a bit of a blabbermouth that he is certainly not. But we've both been around the block a little bit, and we maybe have both made some mistakes in our love lives that we're still trying to correct. You know, we both love Jason, except we give him different names.
Also, the fact that, you know, are you familiar with our industry? If you were to cast somebody from the Indian film industry, who would you?
Oh gosh, I'm not familiar enough to say. What was her name? From Slumdog Millionaire, Frida Pinto?
Yes.
Oh, Frida Pinto. I haven't seen her in a minute. She is great. I love her. Frida Pinto, final answer. She can play striker.
Awesome. Maybe season 4 we'll have Frida Pinto. So here's to World Cup wins and Emmy Awards. Hi, Toheed. This is Pooja from India. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Pooja. How are you?
I'm very well too. So what's up with Sam? It's his show all the way.
Oh man, what's up with Sam? I'm excited for people to see what we've got in store for Sam in season 3. The first season, we got to wrestle with quite a lot. A lot of it was just about him finding his place in the team. The second season, he started to use his voice a bit more and got to a point where, you know, like this team had become his family. And in the third season, you know, like we're dealing with a lot more of the same stuff. You know, he's finding his voice, finding his feet, finding his place in the team, finding love, hopefully opening a restaurant. Like we're following the same quest that we've been on for the first and second season, but also he's dealing with a lot of the challenges that come up, you know, due to the decisions that he's made in the second season. It's a tough thing. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You're going to say something.
No. Continue.
No, I was going to say, no, it's a tough thing to hold truth to power sometimes. And powerful people don't usually take that lying down. So yeah, we get to see him deal with some of the consequences of his actions and wrestle with them, and with his AFC Richmond family, we'll see what the results of those are.
So when the first time you were told Ted Lasso, what was your reaction? What?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to remember yes, I did. I read the script for it, but I also had my audition sides. And I think the thing that spoke to me the most was I just saw this West African character who had come from home and was in this new country and was trying to figure himself out. And I think that's the thing that really ignited my passion for it. Because, you know, like that's my life story. I've lived that. It's my lived experience. And so it was a story that I wanted to tell because I understood the potential that it had. So that was the first thing. But then also to play a footballer was definitely on my bucket list. So I wanted to do that. But I thought the show had a really unique humor and had a heart to it. You know, at the end of the script in the first episode, it ends with Ted having the phone call with his wife, and well, his ex-wife. And I was like, we've gone from this zany show about this American dude who doesn't understand football and doesn't understand British culture to this really human story about this man leaving home and you know, like this marriage dissolving and him trying to optimism his way through it. You know, I thought there was just, there was a lot of potential in there, and it was really moving.
What's that American thing that you've picked up, your take, you know, from this show? And that you were surprised?
American thing that I picked up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I've come to LA quite a lot, and people keep trying to get me to drink boba tea. You know, that tea that's got like the balls in it, and I can't stand it. It's horrible, and I think people who drink it have very terrible taste. It says a lot about them, and they need to stay far, far away from me.
So, what would you want? A World Cup trophy or an Emmy win?
A World Cup trophy or an Emmy win. I think I'm gonna have to go for a World Cup trophy, man. Like, cause that's a bigger, like Lionel Messi just won a World Cup for Argentina, and those people partied for like a week straight. So I need one of those. Like Brett's won an Emmy. If I won an Emmy, I'll go and like, you know, play with Brett's one. But a World Cup, especially if I play for Nigeria, then like a World Cup for Nigeria would be insane. That'd be crazy.
Awesome. But, you know, it's great being an actor. You have manifested what you wanted to do. So, you know, and also the fact, where do you see, say, Sam in another 5 years? I mean, the big guy.
Where do I see Sam in another? I don't know. I think he has so much potential for growth. I'd like to think it's still at AFC Richmond, because I think he's one of the cornerstones to that team now. And a team without him or without Jamie or without Isaac or Danny Rojas wouldn't be the same team anymore. So I hope in 5 years he'd still be at AFC Richmond. But I think he'd be a completely, you know, he'd have fully butterflied out of his cocoon, and he'd be a force to be reckoned with. And I'd be excited to touch back in with Sam in 5 years' time. Like, who knows what he'd be doing? He'll probably be president of some country somewhere, you know?
You never know. You never know. A footballer you would actually want to be part of Ted Lasso.
Yeah. What footballer would I actually want to be part of Ted Lasso? I think Marcus Rashford was one of the players that I looked at a lot when I was like working on Sam and figuring him out. So I think maybe it'd be him. Also, he'd just be a dope person to hang out with, I think. So obviously I'm gonna go for Marcus Rashford or Lionel Messi, but he's the GOAT, so he probably might not have time to come and mess around and tell jokes with us.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, and more power to Sam. Let's see what he does next in season 3. How are you doing?
Hi, Pooja. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. So, I mean, Nick the Great to Nick the Great, the villain. How did you wrap your head around this change in your character at the reading room?
Oh, goodness me. Well, I was fortunate enough to know that, that the character was headed in this way from really early on. In fact, from I think when we were filming episode 3 of season 1, Jason, had sort of sat me down and said, "Oh, just so you know, this is where things are heading," and pretty much outlined the 3-season arc that they had in mind at the time for Nate, and it absolutely included that massive downward sort of spiral trajectory that we see Nate go on in season 2, ending in him ultimately betraying Ted, and that's where we kind of pick up from where we left off with season 3. Nate's now at West Ham. Rupert is his boss, who's a very obviously toxic force in lots of people's lives, and couldn't be more different from someone like Ted in terms of having a boss or having a good role model in your life. And so, yeah, I was, in terms of getting my head around it, I was just really fortunate that the writing has just been, stupendously brilliant along the way. And having Jason and Joe and Brendan on set all the time as well to kind of ask questions if there was ever something that I needed sort of a little bit more explanation about that didn't feel like it was in the script, or that if they'd made changes along the way, they were always there and present. So I had a hell of a lot of support through it as well.
So a World Cup win or an Emmy win, which one would you choose?
Sorry, say that again, Pooja.
A football World Cup win or an Emmy win, which one would you choose?
Well, a World Cup win would probably feel a little bit more exciting. I don't know. Goodness me, I don't like to think of the awards. It's not about the awards, is it? It's about the journey, kind of getting there. And I feel like we're, I personally just feel so lucky to be a part of this great show, and the team of writers and actors that I've met as a result. They're just such a wonderful group of people. We feel so lucky when we get to go to those award ceremonies, but by no means we don't expect it. A World Cup win feels, I don't know, the right thing to say, because I don't know, a lot more people can get behind that as well.
And which is an American thing that you've picked up?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. Well, I didn't quite know just how little sort of was known about sort of soccer in the States. I think I just sort of assumed that because it's so big, in the UK, but in Europe and internationally, that I just assumed that America surely sort of knows about it. But then, so it was more of a sort of shock to me that it was a shock to Ted Lasso coming over to the UK that he didn't know anything about it. I had to do my research on that front, and to find out that it's not as well known over there as it is. Maybe now it is more so because of Ted Lasso. I don't know.
But did you enjoy eating the biscuits?
I never got to try them. I've never tried one of Ted Lasso's biscuits. It's Hannah gets to eat them all the time, but I don't get a look in on all that. I'd like some though. I hear they're like shortbread, basically.
Hopefully in the forthcoming seasons. And thank you so much. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.